All right, welcome everyone to this D2L with Dave and Paul webinar series. This is session number 10, believe it or not. I feel like we just started these, but we're on number 10 already, and we're in the subject-specific series on teaching physical education inside of Brightspace. I hope you've had a chance to log into Brightspace. You've been added into a course called D2L with Dave Teacher Course. And basically all that is a course where you can go around and practice whatever it is you want to practice inside there. So you can go in, create discussions and things like that. But you can go into this Brightspace link at gecdsb.elearningontario.ca. Another way of accessing that is directly from the public board site. And I'm just going to share my screen here and demo that. If you're on the public board site, you can scroll all the way down to the very bottom of the screen, and there's a link for D2L Brightspace. If you're already logged into something like your email or Outlook or anything Office 365, it will log you right inside of Brightspace because it uses that same login credentials. If you haven't logged into anything, then you'll end up having to log in on your own using Office 365. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Let's head into who we are. So if you haven't been following us yet so far, my name is Dave Gomes. I'm our technology-enabled learning and teaching contact with the board. I work in the Student Success Department with an awesome team there, and I'm our liaison with the Ministry of Education in terms of e-learning and with D2L. I'm co-hosted today by Paul Lonke. He's one of the special assignment literacy teachers, past English department head at Essex District High School, and 4-year e-learning teacher, or at least 3 years completed, 4th year upcoming, not including the emergency remote e-learning. So thank you, Paul. Welcome. And today, Paul and I are going to be doing a little bit of Q&A, just because we want to make sure we understand what your questions and concerns are in terms of online learning. We want to do a bunch of demos for you so that we can basically meet all of your needs and answer all of your questions. Okay, so I'm just going to unshare my camera so that you don't have to look at me, and you can just look at the slides that we've got for you. Okay, so as we've been starting off the most recent subject-specific sessions, we've always been asking the question, what do you do in your regular classroom that you'd like to replicate online? And if you click on the chat pod where it says public chat, you can see you can type in online here. Now, this might be a little bit difficult for HPE courses, but what types of things do you do in your regular classroom that you want to learn to replicate online? Just type them in the chat, just so we can get an idea of where to go during this session.
In respect to the phys ed teachers, Dave and I were talking about this as we were planning, and this might be the most challenging subject area when it comes to teaching online.
Yeah, and I think it's just because of mostly that kinesthetic aspect of health and phys ed courses, right? It's when you're talking about that whole strand of movement, right? It's going to be very difficult, and we totally understand that. So when we look at this, again, if you don't have a ton of things to put in here, I know in some courses it was like, well, how do I have this type of discussion, or how do I make a quiz, or how do I do this? I know the challenge is the largest challenge in front of you all is that physical piece, where your courses are so reliant on physical activity, as they should be, and then how do we replicate that in an online course? So how do we address movement competence? And yeah, that's that strand in every one of the phys ed courses that's going to be very difficult to do. How do we know that they are actually doing it? Yeah. So depending on the type of work, or depending on what we're asking them to do, how is it that we know that the students are, first of all, getting the message and then following the message, and then how do they share that with us? That's a great question. And then can we trust them? So all good questions. So I'll leave it at that for now, and I'm just going to just point you to a few of the sessions that you may have missed in the past. Because this is our 10th session, there's actually 9 of them that you can access previously. The first 4 were more generic, just giving you an overview of everything you can do in Brightspace. And then we looked at how to develop and create content, how to how you can use communication tools within Brightspace, and then how you can use assessment tools within Brightspace, because it is its own learning management system. There's a ton of things that are built in. So I would suggest, if you're looking at delving into Brightspace, go back and look at some of these webinars. They all have the same beginning part, bit.ly/D2L with Dave. And then you just put in either 1, 2A, or 2B, that one, because there were 2 parts to the video. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then as long as someone doesn't steal my URL, today's session will be bit.ly/D2L with Dave 10. Okay. So those are the things that we may refer you to today if it's something in terms of assessment that comes up. Go back and look at some of those. They are all previously recorded and sent out. So now what I'd like to do is I want to show you some of the tools that we have available within this virtual classroom that we're using right now. It's actually the ministry provided virtual classroom or virtual learning space. It's called Bongo, and it works within Brightspace. So we create these from Brightspace. Guys, you got to go out of here. Sorry, my boys just walked in. But this works within Brightspace. You launch you launch this virtual classroom from Brightspace, and then we have some other tools that we can use to do live synchronous sessions. So what I'd like to do is just initiate a poll here, and I want to know which strand of the curriculum do you think is most important for students. So you'll notice at the top it'll say polling options, and you can select A, B, C, or D, and you can just choose which one of those do you think is most important. Is it the living skills? Right? Is it the other ones? Yeah, I'm just going to give it a few more seconds just to get all the different responses in, and I'll close and publish those results. Okay, so we've got some active living, healthy living, no one on living skills, no one on movement competence, and that's okay, right? So just to give you a kind of a quick response to the public chat. So Sophia, I see you're saying Bongo with a question mark. Yeah, so the company that provides this virtual learning space is called Bongo, but it's actually been it works within Brightspace, and it's provided by the Ministry of Ontario. So it is safe and secure. Only your students will be able to access your meetings if you choose to do them within here. And it's nice because everything works in one place. So we go into D2L or Brightspace, we launch everything from there, and the recordings can be made available in there as well. Okay, so thanks for participating in my poll. The next question I have for you is this tool called multi-user mode. And inside of a presentation, I can flip a switch on here and I can see everyone's mouse where they are. And so if you then go around here, and I'm asking you to identify a joint. So if you can identify any joint on this skeleton body over here, then we can see where people are. So I've got a shoulder joint, I've got an elbow, the knee, hips. Good, everyone knows what a joint is. That's good. All right, so we'll step it up a little bit. We'll zoom in here and we'll see if you can identify a thoracic vertebrae. I see some people on thoracic. I see a few people on lumbar. So that could definitely help us. And Paul's up on cervical. Now he's moved down. Okay, good. We've got some thoracic vertebrae right here. Those aren't the ones that give me trouble. This is actually the one that gives me big trouble. But as you can see here, we're just kind of demonstrating how you can get your class involved here. All right, who can identify a metacarpal? I did my research before I came in here, so I know that these ones are the metacarpals. Some people are just on the carpals, some people are on the proximal phalanges, and I am on the metacarpals here, those long ones. By the way, it took me the longest to actually figure these things out because I haven't taken PSK4U in 15 years. So
yeah, this is a very unfair setup. Very unfair.
All right, so this one will be fun then. So identify your favorite muscle or muscle group. And notice I didn't say why it could be your favorite. Maybe it's your favorite because it's your favorite to train. Maybe it's your favorite because of how large it is. Maybe it's your favorite because of how it looks. I don't know. My favorite up here is actually the sternocleidomastoids, just because the name sounds so cool. So those are mine, but everyone's in the abs. You can tell it's summer season, right? All right. So last one here, I just have a great question, which is, who is the GOAT? So use your computer cursor, hover over the image. Who is the GOAT? Is it Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Larry Bird? And we've got a lot of people in here. Michael Jordan. Hopefully that is the overall answer. But great. Thank you for. I know I didn't put Kobe in. I should have, but I wanted to have Larry in there too. So, but admittedly, Kobe learned everything from Michael Jordan. So I feel like we have to say Michael Jordan. If we don't, then that whole documentary thing that just came out was a waste. So, anyways, thank you for indulging me in all of these. Again, this is things that you could prepare in your slides. And all I've done here is I've created a PowerPoint that has these slides up, and I'm just kind of funneling through the slides back and forth, and then we can enable that multi-user mode and get people's thoughts on the screen. So it's a great way of doing that in multiple disciplines for certain things.
We should show them also how everyone can draw and write on the slides too.
Oh, you're right. Okay. So why don't we go back to this one then? And I'll turn on multi-user mode. If you go over to the right-hand side and you click on where it says tools, you can actually you can select a pencil, and you could actually circle your favorite muscle, or maybe you can draw. I think Paul's drawing glasses on the muscles, right? So you could actually look at certain shapes of the muscles, right? Whatever you wanted to talk about, even like the striations in muscles, things like that. But so you have this option too. So depending on what it is you'd want the students to do and become a little bit more interactive. Great job on the hand, whoever did that. Nicely done. Okay. So yeah, great tools that you can use inside here. And it doesn't just have to be written. You can do shapes as well. So if I wanted to make a circle on something, I could do that. I could do text if I wanted to. But if I forgot to put something on my slide, I can always add it inside there. Okay, so absolutely. Thanks for reminding me about that, Paul.
That's lots of, yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
That's lots of fun to use with classes. It gets the interactivity going.
Yes, and I think the first thing we want to cover inside here is actually a strategy that Paul has kind of opened up my eyes to, and it's the idea of think alouds and annotations. Paul, do you want to run us through this?
Sure, no problem. Okay, so think aloud is what we would call it kind of in your traditional, desk-based classroom. In phys ed, I think this is something that you folks have been doing all along forever, and it's just demonstrating a skill. So what you're doing is you're an expert and you're modeling a skill, and maybe that's shooting a free throw, and I'll just use that one as my example. So there are a lot of different minor skills that all come together to shoot a free throw. And what the Think Aloud does is allows an expert to break down those skills and make it explicit for the students, because sort of just watching and imitating can be useful, but sometimes students will miss, crucial components of a skill. So having an expert perform the skill while explaining what he or she is thinking about while doing it can be a really powerful tool of allowing the students to mimic that and develop the skill independently, so that they can then transfer that skill to other situations. So you want to be demonstrating what you're doing while talking. So the big challenge then is, how do you do that online? Because in your classroom or in your gym, that happens all the time very naturally. So how do you do that here? Well, what the research is showing us that the more you can incorporate your face and the more you can incorporate your voice, the more engagement you're going to get from your students. And the study shows how long students will watch a video. And if it includes your face, and if it includes your voice, and if it includes you annotating text or, little drawings and stuff like that, that will create more deeper engagement, and they will watch a video for longer. So how do you do that online? Well, the first question to ask is, are you doing this in a synchronous way? Meaning, is this live, like a virtual classroom meeting like we're having now, or is it asynchronous? So in a synchronous activity, you could have your camera on and be demonstrating a skill while discussing, your thought process behind doing that skill. So you could actually have your phone set up. If you have a basketball net and you wanted to talk about free throws, or you could go to the park in your nearby neighborhood, set that up, and you could actually film yourself shooting free throws and talking about that. You could be doing that live, or you could record that and then have that accessible to the students after. So that could either be done with a live meeting, or you could record it and put it into content. You could put the video into announcements or into discussions, and you could do that using Video Note. There's also Brightspace Capture that we're going to talk about a bit more there. Okay. So another way that this could be done, and this would be more of a synchronous, a live situation where the students are online with you at the same time. You have, just as we've done with the multi-user, we have all these images that we can put. You just have a PowerPoint slide, so it's really a blank canvas. You can put anything you want, whatever you're talking about, and then get the students discussing that. So one example that Dave came up with here is looking at weightlifting. And the advice I always got with weightlifting was that you should always lift weights using the back with a jerking, twisting motion. And I think maybe some phys ed teachers can back me up on that one. But yeah, definitely no, of course not. You want to be taking care of your back, of course. But maybe you've got students looking at this, and then you can demonstrate, sort of the basics of technique, and you can talk about this and that. And that's just one example. Okay. Dave, would you be able to talk about the video Think Alouds?
Yeah, so really what I was, and Paula, this actually fits very well into what you were just asking in the chat. So there's always a lot of resources you can use online, and where you think about what a Think Aloud really is, and Paul mentioned it earlier, you as phys ed teachers have been doing this very well for years, right? But when you think about like the YouTube, either like the how-tos or the DIY style of videos, those are really what Think Alouds are. Okay, so you could have some Think Alouds that you could create on your own, or you could find online about making healthy snacks, safe lifting techniques, as you can see up here. You've got sport-specific skills like a forehand shot in a tennis shot. Same thing with workouts. So if you wanted to design a workout or show or demo a workout, these are all things that you could do on your own, or you could find things to do, or you could, find resources online. One thing I will say, and I know Andrea and Paul were chatting about the flipped classroom a little bit earlier before this meeting started, but we've actually run flipped classroom pilot projects in our board, and one of the things that we realize that kids like is seeing their own teacher. So though I don't think it's essential to have the student's teacher doing absolutely everything, I do think it's important for them to see that you're doing some of these things. So even if it's you in the kitchen making your own healthy snack and explaining why that's a healthy snack, that can be used. And then you could always link to some other videos that are already existing online, provided that they're appropriate resources. Same thing with workouts, right? You could be demonstrating, 5 quick body weight skills like push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, jumping jacks, right? And if it's you demoing it, then that kind of gets a little bit more buy-in from students. But absolutely, you can use external resources for these. These are just kind of the ideas of what a Think Aloud could be on video. And this could be something where if I'm doing it live, we could actually be thinking about the video, or we could just be creating our own video. So there are a lot of tools you can use to do this. So I think it's probably advantageous for us to look into those. And the 3 that I really want to focus on today are, Paul was mentioning them already, Video Note, Capture, and Virtual Classroom. So right now we are in Virtual Classroom. And thank you, Andrea, for that point as well. Lifting weights should not be done without direct supervision. So there are some things that absolutely you need to be cognizant of, and you're probably going to be more aware of that than I am as a math and physics teacher. But so the 3 things I want to jump into are Video Note, Brightspace Capture, and then the virtual classroom. Now we are inside the virtual classroom right now, so I think I'll start on video note and the virtual classroom, and then I'll have Paul demonstrate Brightspace Capture for us. Yeah. And then to answer Darcy's comment, absolutely. So some students may not have equipment, so it's probably always safer to use just body weight. And if done well, I mean, you all know, like, body weight exercises can be pretty grueling. So, okay, so I'm going to share my screen and get into Brightspace and show a couple things. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to jump into this webinar course, and I'm going to show you, the first thing I'll show you is called Video Note. And what Video Note is essentially is anywhere where you can get an HTML editor. So for example, in announcements or in content. So I'm going to go to new announcement, and I'll just create a new announcement. And I'll call it Video Note. Essentially what this allows you to do is you can type inside here and say, hey class, here is today's video. Of course, I should spell it correctly. And then you can use this insert stuff icon here and then select Video Note. So add Video Note. And then what that's going to do is it's either going to allow you to record a live webcam video. In this case, if I have this, I can go new recording, and it's going to allow me to do up to 30 minutes of a recording. Now this works for students and it works for teachers the same way. So if a student wanted to record a video note, they could do so. Go new recording, and it's going to allow me to do up to, right? It records the audio, it records the webcam, and then it will embed it right inside when I select insert. And publish. It's just going to transform it into an embeddable content file or an embeddable form. So what will end up happening is you may not be able to see it immediately, but within a minute or so, you should be able to see it. Now this one might actually pop up once this loads, just because of how short it was. And just so you know, my internet's running a little bit slow. This isn't Brightspace. This is my internet because my kids are watching the Netflix right now. So you can end up seeing that this is embeddable right there, and it's playable. Now, the other option inside there, when you go to add a video note, is you can upload a video instead of just instead of recording a new one. So when I go to insert stuff and add video note, if I didn't want to record webcam video and I just wanted to upload a file, so let's say I already had a video that I had recorded on my phone, or if I recorded it from somewhere else, I'm not sure that I have one right here, and I select next, then it's going to do the exact same thing. It's going to take that video and put it into an embeddable form that shows right up inside either announcements or inside of content, wherever you'd like it to be put. You will always see this at the beginning. So media file is currently being transformed, but we don't have to wait for it to be transformed. It's going to do it all in the background. So when I go back to that announcement widget, I might see this one again. It might take a minute or so, but you'll see you've got the text there. We'll have the video note that I put below there, and then we'll have the video note that I just added in. And you see it's still refreshing, or it's still transforming that video. So in another minute, that should be available. Okay, so that's Video Note, and it's a quick and easy way to either give class instructions, or if you wanted to open up your webcam on the laptop and demo a skill just through there, it'd be a quick and easy way to do that. That can also work inside of content as well. So if you're in the content and you're looking to create your own content or upload your own files and kind of have students go that way, you can do that by creating your units and then adding in files inside here. You can just upload PDF files, or you could create a new HTML document, and then you get right back into that similar thing like an announcement. So we'll call this document 1 or document 2, and I can go to insert stuff, which is now this play pause button, and I've got that same thing where I can add video note. Okay. Now, if I've recorded a video note previously, then I can also go to this video note search, and now it's going to search for all the different video notes that I have created in the past. And you can see I've done a lot of them. So actually, I've done a lot of them during these demos too. So you can just put this one inside here, insert, right? And then now that I've already done that, save it up. Okay, and so that now becomes a document right within this lesson that we've had. Okay, so now that's Video Note, and I think it's a phenomenal tool that you can use. The other tool, or the second tool I'd like to talk about, is Virtual Classroom. And really all I want to do is show how you can launch a virtual classroom session. So you would end up going to the nav bar, which is the navigation bar with all the quick links, and you can select Virtual Classroom. Now, when you select Virtual Classroom, it will allow you, you might have to click yes or allow the first time you do it, but it allows you to schedule these meetings. You can see I have some meetings. This is today's meeting, the 10, and then tomorrow I'm having another one. And then it also shows you different recordings of those meetings if you've selected to record them. So in order to schedule a meeting, you click on the bottom corner, you give it a title, you give it a date. If you want it to be in the future, you can do that. If you want it to be right now, you just select now. And then you scroll down, you can change how long it is. So 90 minutes versus 15 minutes. You can make it repeat if you want to do it weekly or every so many weeks. And then you can either automatically record the meeting, you can publish that recorded meeting, and that just means that it would be saved under the recorded meeting section. This is the key thing that I want to make sure that everyone knows is you should not be allowing external participants, especially if there are students in the meeting. Basically what it does is it provides you a link that you can share out to people. Actually, it's how we are accessing this today because I sent out the links to everyone. But allowing external participants basically would be like if you wanted a guest speaker to come in, you could provide them the link and then they can come in and into a virtual classroom session with you. The problem is that if that link gets into the wrong hands, you can have things like Zoom bombers who just want to come in and stir up whatever because they can. So as long as you don't check off allow external participants, this will only be accessible to students within your specific class. The other thing that you'll want to know is once you've created one of these sessions, you can go back in and edit them. So if I select this drop-down arrow, I can go in and edit if I wanted to change the time. So if I want to do that for tomorrow's link, I could do that, right? Select edit, change the time with whatever I want to do. The one, I guess not one, also another benefit, but another benefit is the ability that students cannot enter the meeting until you have joined the meeting as the administrator. That's a very important part because we don't want students sitting inside an open meeting room. So just be aware of that. Like that's an important thing. And then the last important thing especially is the ability to end the meeting and then everyone gets kicked out. Now I know that there are some issues right now with Teams where students are able to jump into they're able to jump into the meeting before it starts and they're able to stay after it starts. And so that's an issue that kind of we don't really want that to happen because we want students to be only in there when they're supervised. Okay, so that is fully available within Brightspace inside this this virtual classroom. And then notice at the bottom, it's showing powered by Bongo. So Bongo is the provider that gives this service, but it operates right from within Brightspace. Okay, and that's actually where we're running all of these sessions from. Okay.
So Dave, if you were creating a Bongo session for your class to meet, how would you communicate that to the class?
That is a good question. So as a student, students could come right in from the nav bar here, click on Virtual Classroom, and they would see the exact same page that we would see with the times. But you could also, if you're on your main screen, so every course has this this home page, and what you could do, I would probably use the announcements for this. So if I go with this little drop down and go new announcement, and I'll give it a title of something like meeting today at 2 p.m. Right, then you can scroll down here, and in that same, not insert stuff, but in this third option here, it says insert quick link. If you select that, then if you scroll down all the way down to the very bottom, you have the option, and I don't think you can see it on mine. There we go. You have the option at the bottom for virtual classroom. And when you select virtual classroom there, it's going to show all of the different virtual sessions that I've created. You can see some of them have happened in the past, but if I want to put a meeting in for tomorrow's, I just click on it there, and it automatically gives in that the link to that meeting. So I can then type in, use the link above, whatever, put in some images if I want, and publish that. And then on the main screen, students will end up seeing that announcement there, and it will show. And when they click on that link, it should bring them directly into the spot where they go and enter the meeting room. But again, they can't do that for another 23 hours and 19 minutes.
And I should mention, I just got a notification on my phone through the Brightspace Pulse app letting me know that you had just posted an announcement.
Nice. Very nice. So yeah, that's actually another great thing to bring up. And we might as well do that now. There is an app that students can download if you're using Brightspace called Brightspace Pulse. And actually, let me just upload the image. Paul, if you want to speak to it while I'm uploading the slide, just
Sure
what
thing.
It does.
Sure thing. This is an app. We know that the students are using their phones more than they're using laptops, and a question of how can you get information and notifications to them quickly. I know a lot of us have used Remind 101 that blasts out text messages. So the Brightspace Pulse app is really going to be convenient for the students. They can access all of their different kinds of course information right through the app on their phones. So they can pull it up, they can see their courses, they can read the announcements, they can go through the course content. And Dave looks like he's got the image here to explain more.
Yeah, so this is just the one that I got from D2L, but the idea here is that it is a mobile app. It's meant to just give a snapshot of what's going on in the course, but it is fully functional. So students can do everything they want in the course directly from there, and teachers can as well. So if you have courses that you're facilitating as a teacher, you can use the Brightspace Pulse app as well, and either organize or post things directly from it. You can actually record a video note directly from your phone while in Brightspace Pulse and post it, which is a really neat feature of that. So though you can do everything in the web browser, so if you're using, if you're on your phone or your iPad and you're using Safari, you can use all these different features as well. But the Pulse app is just meant to make it a little bit easier for you and for students. Okay. So the other thing we'd like to share with you today is Brightspace Capture. So I'm just going to open up a screen here just to show you what it does. Basically, what you end up having to do is download and install a very small program. It's called the Capture Encoder, and it works for Mac or it works for Windows. And what it allows you to do is either record your screen or your webcam, or you can also upload a video file from your computer and access it right within this thing called Capture Central. And basically, it's going to allow you to do those types of those video demos or the video walkthroughs or video think alouds. And then you can create these different playlists that are limited to your class. So if you want to create a bunch of videos of you talking to them and you don't want to do it through Video Note because you want to have the actual file, then this is the tool that you can use for it. You can download the video afterwards. You can embed it into a web page if you want, or you can load it right into Brightspace. So Paul, would you be able to demo this for us? You did a great job of demoing it last time.
Sure thing. So I'm just going to share my screen. And okay, can you see my screen, Dave?
Yep, we've got it.
All right. So once you've installed the widget, it appears down here, and you can move that to wherever you want as you manage your homepage. But you're getting the Capture widget here, and the choices are New Video Recording, Course Videos, and Live Event Manager. Should we look at New Video Recording? Okay, here we go. So this is the piece that you need to have downloaded and installed. That's the Brightspace Capture Encoder. And then once
before you click on that,
Oh, sorry.
So actually, those two links right there where it says Capture Windows and Capture Mac OS X, if you just minimize that, yep. Those two links, the blue links there, if you need to install it, you just click on that, one of those two, and it will download it for you, and then you'll install it. So you kind of have to do that just the first time. And then once you've done that after that, you just click on Relaunch Capture or click on the Record New Video, and then this encoder pops up.
Okay, so then the encoder comes up, and I can give it a title. I can be the presenter. And I can choose if I want to have my camera and the screen, just the camera. I'll show you with the camera and the screen together. And again, that can increase engagement for the students, but you're going to use what is going to be best suited to your purposes at the time. So here's what camera and screen would look like. Preview should be coming. Let's see. There we are. So we're getting the infinity screen because what we see on the left is my camera, and then on the right is the encoder, and then it shows the encoder within the encoder within the encoder, and that goes all the way down to infinity, as you can see. But you shouldn't think about that too much because you can lose your mind doing that. But if I want to start, I can start here, and then later on I can go back and I can crop the beginning of the video so that I can start it. So so that the video appears to begin at a spot that's the beginning of the presentation. So I'll start by clicking Start here. And
so one thing to remember right now is even though Paul can't see it, his webcam is still being recorded. So just be aware, if you've selected the webcam and the desktop or the screen, then it's recording everything he's doing on the screen. It's also recording his webcam.
That's right. So here I am, and we can see that it's going. I click Start, and then here I am, and I may be talking. I may be on a website talking about an article with students, or whatever else you might be doing at the time. You can be going through the content. You can be reviewing a video and discussing it. So whatever is on your screen that you want to show, here I am, I'm recording. And then when I finish, I go here and I click Stop. And here's the recording. So if I didn't like that one, I can restart it, and that'll just automatically throw out that take. And I can do another one right away. Or I can continue. If I wanted to stop and then have a second part to my video, I can click Continue. Or if that's everything I wanted, I can click Finish. I can also review it. And that's Start here. So there we go. As you make videos of yourself, try not to get too much in your head about how you look and whether you look like a Hollywood celebrity and stuff, because you don't. And what they're saying about this new generation of kids is they appreciate authenticity. So you don't have to be perfect. Leave the mistakes in there, and they'll see you as a real person and learn from you that way. So I might want to finish here. So I'll go down to the bottom here and I'll click Finish. And I just have my title, presenter, what folder I want it to go into, and I can publish it. My editing options, I can go up here. Dave, do you remember how I can do the top?
So the editing has to be done from Capture Central. So I would just go and publish it first.
Okay.
So you can select Publish. And I'm actually going to be doing just its own session on Capture, and that'll be recorded for everyone else in the near future. So if Capture is something you want to learn a lot more about in terms of how to edit it, it's actually really easy to do. It's just there's some steps that you've got to follow. Okay, but basically, like it's once you have the encoder installed, it's very straightforward as to how to get those things. Yeah, you can press OK and then clean it up, select yes. And so now, if you close that encoder, head back into the widget. So just on the home page.
Okay.
That video that Paul just made should be there. We scroll all the way down and select course videos. And there you go.
And there's today's.
It's right there.
Okay.
So, and so that's really quick and easy to do as well. So there you can see his whole recording.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. So if I can actually steal the presenter back, I'll go in and show the how to edit those very quickly, just so that you can see. So once you actually have a videos in there, you can select this thing in the nav bar called Capture Central. And if you don't see it in your course, that's okay. Again, there will be a video coming out showing how to get there. This is where you can upload a video and have them kind of saved inside there as well. But you can select presentations, and then all the different presentations that you've done in here. Notice this is that one that Paul just recorded. So I can go inside here and I can go in and edit it. So there's edit presentation in post-production tool. And this is all happening online. So if I want to clip out his first, let's say I want to clip out his first this many seconds, all I have to do is mark them. So I can mark different sections here. And then if I select my cut tool, I can just cut that. And then all that's going to play when I save this again is this session and this section. Now, if I save that, this is one of the best features about this snipping tool is it's going to have revision history. So I just saved that. It's now going to have the most updated save and his initial video. And any past revisions that you've done, if you've added chapters inside here, so I can title this being, chapter 1, whatever, and then something over here, all these revisions are going to show there. Okay, so I think this tool is probably best utilized because it allows you to use the videos that you think are relevant in your course, especially ones that you can take with your phone and upload them into this Brightspace Capture, and then you can edit them at the end. Now, the editor doesn't have a ton of bells and whistles to it, but it does have the ability to snip out sections of time. So if you're worried about the beginning or the end or something in the middle that you screwed up on, don't worry about that at all. All you have to do is just snip out that little section in the middle. Okay. So thanks, Paul, for demoing that. There's a lot of things that we could still go into. We've hit on a lot of them throughout the rest of the sessions, especially in the first 4. But one that I just want to make you aware of is there's also a built-in portfolio tool inside of D2L or inside of Brightspace. So you can use portfolios. I think it's slide 19. So there's a built-in portfolio tool. There's also a mobile app for students to submit work to. And you could use this as a way of getting students to submit work and submit reflections to you. But then you can also tag them by overall expectations. And so this could be a good way of utilizing video and like reflection practices. We don't have time to demo it today just because I know we're nearing the end of our session, but there will be another video series that comes out. It'll probably just all be recorded where it demos things like Capture, like Portfolio, and all those other great features that Brightspace has inside it. So I know we also didn't touch on things like group work or discussions, things like that. But within Brightspace, if you go in to watch that first D2L with Dave session, like bit.ly/D2L with Dave 1, it goes over all the different things you can do. So you can do discussions, you have assignment folders, you have rubrics you can create in there. There's a quizzing option that you can use. You can create your own content. And then thinking about how you can interact with students, you can have these virtual classroom sessions like we're doing right now, but you could have those just as a one-on-one with a student. You could also use this for student presentations, right? Either in the discussions asynchronously using video note or synchronously using virtual classroom. So I know that there's a ton of different ways you could go with this. I think that after these sessions, we probably make more questions than we answer. but it at least starts the conversation going and gives us an understanding of where we should move to next with in order to best support you as teachers. So if you do have any final thoughts, final comments for us, please put them in the chat. Otherwise, I think we're kind of done.
Yeah.
And again, I think you'll have a chance to review the webinar recording as well once the recording is finalized and shared out. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to either email myself, david.gomes@publicboard.ca, or paul.lonke@publicboard.ca.
Yep. I'm happy to hear from you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I'll stick around for a couple more minutes and answer any questions that come up. But for now, I'm just going to stop the recording.